The first tool out of the two I want to share is the statewide one where we analyze 21 counties. This is where we taken our displacement report that we released last year to tie it in with also flood risk for public infrastructure. So we analyze, and if you click on the bottom right here, 13 different public assets in this analysis where we determined if it sits on a current floodplain or the floodplain in 25 years, which is Rutgers floodplain data at the plus 3 feet. And so in this data set, it's interactive where there's cues here on this left-hand side where you can select a county or use an address bar. For this example, I can just click on Atlantic County and a pop-up will appear. Again, you can also click on a county in the map itself as well. And I'll explain what's shown on this county pop-up. First, we have the top left of the pop-up, the name of the county you're currently selecting, how many parcels are in that county, and what the percentage of those parcels are in a current flood risk for today, and what it is by 2050. We also have economic risk tied to those parcels using the statewide property mod 4 data set, where we use a county equalizer ratio to reflect market value. So in Cape May County, this reads as 56.5% of parcels are at current risk, which equates to $55.4 billion. And that rises to 71% by 2050 and not adjusted to inflation, totaling $68.2 billion. And we also brought in the same data set that was provided in that Mod 4 data is the property taxes that are at risk. So about $348 million today are at risk, and these dollars are really important because we want to be able to understand who is in current risk in terms of parcel level, but also try to bring a different data set and brought in income levels. So in Cape May, we have, 77 people that are in displacement numbers, and that there's a breakdown. So we really want to focus.
77,000, just to correct you.
Yes, that's 77,000.
77,000.
Yes. So just to look into the displacement data again, the dark orange are going to be parcels that are in high flood risk, meaning 50% of that parcel is in a floodplain, and also incorporating that they're lower income. And this is important because these people or communities are going to impact stress levels in terms of displacement, in terms of flood risk, and an opportunity for government to also build the infrastructure needed or implement programs for that area. So there's a breakdown in terms of displacement and risk groups. So we have high flood risk as well as income levels in 4 different categories. And additionally, tying back to the tax revenue, we decided to take this on another level by bringing in the public assets that I mentioned earlier. So for Cape May, for instance, these are all the public assets. And what we also showcase is how many of the parks are in current flood risk and what that would look like by 2050. So there's a breakdown for parks, police stations, libraries, etc. And that is for every single county. I also want to showcase another thing that we decided to bring into this data are the Blue Acre buyouts. So once you kind of filter, experience sorry, that jumped way too quickly. You activate the Blue Acres toggle and you get to see where displacement is already happening. So Blue Acres buyouts is a program where the state is giving homeowners the opportunity to leave as they've experienced repetitive flooding. And again, they're taking, their tax dollars with them. But also taxpayers are funding this program as well. So statewide, almost 1,700 properties have already been bought out by the government using taxpayers' dollars, showcasing that displacement from flooding is already happening. So I just want to showcase that you can kind of zoom in and understand where there's Blue Acres buyouts. So if I clicked on a county that has it, there's also data related to that county that has the numbers. So in Passaic County, 191 parcels are have already been bought out or part of this program. And also want to just showcase another way to explore the tool is using the search bar. And we are trying to figure out, New Jersey is full of celebrities, so why not we figure out Whitney Houston's childhood home is in East Orange. You can kind of use this tool to understand, your own address, your friends and family's address to see whether they're in high flood risk, but also to understand the data attached to really beloved places. So it could be their homes, could be schools, could be parks, etc. So again, there's many ways to explore the tool. It's interactive where you can zoom in, zoom out, and also be able to explore additional data set. So attached to every single county as part of this rollout, we really wanted to bring in a lot of the data that we already have from Rebuild by Design reports. And so each county also has a fact sheet. This ties in three different projects: the Atlas of Disaster of New Jersey for 2011 to 2024 data. It also incorporates the New Jersey flood risk equals financial risk. And again, the new data set bringing in public infrastructure in the conversation. So it's all in one fact sheet. You can export it as a PDF. It could be printed on a one pager. You can also filter through different counties as well, and the numbers all get updated. Again, Blue Acres is also part of the fact sheet as well. So that's one part of the tool there. And again, I also want to share that the methodology button is on the bottom right. This also showcases how to read this map, what data was behind it, as well as the more details on the displacement risk groups on how we defined it. And additionally, part two of this release is going to be the city level data, which is what Amy had provided. We analyzed 8 cities. We plan to do a lot more for the second phase of the rollout. But this is also trying to understand and let municipal planners, as well as people who care about their cities, understand what public infrastructure are in current flood risk or future flood risk. Again, the left-hand side have some cues for users to explore. Again, bottom right has the methodology and data sets as well. But again, you can start to filter through different cities. You can select Jersey City, look through the current and toggle things such as the floodplain for future. You can toggle things off. You can also bring in Blue Acres for any city that we have. And in this case, in Jersey City, there are no Blue Acres buyouts yet. But it's also interactive in a way where the public assets, the numbers of power plants in 2025 risk are all in the side panel below and not in a pop-up. And you can also hide public assets if things are just too busy looking and you want to focus on current flood risk and you only want to focus on parks. You have the power to do so and control your view. Again, you can kind of zoom in as well into the data, the map itself, and hover over and understand what park is on a current flood risk, or toggle that on for future flood risk, and the numbers would also get, sorry, the geo points on the map would also get updated. And another thing in terms of accessibility as well, we also have this link at the bottom of the side panel where you can export your city's findings. So if I click on this, there's going to be a CVS table that showcases all of the public assets that are in current flood risk, as well as future flood risk, and also the geo points. So if you wanted to do additional GIS analysis, you are free to do so. The export will include every single public infrastructure, and that can help with additional research or analysis for that. Again, we are trying to get this across a lot of cities in New Jersey. So in this case, where we do talk about Hoboken a lot, it's part of the Rebuild by Design infrastructure solutions from since Hurricane Sandy. And in the moment, there's not a Hoboken a map, but we do plan to add it. And in the case that there is none, please email us and you can test it around, figure out which cities need it, and we're happy to provide it in a very short turnaround. And so before I end the demo, I also do want to flag that the website to access these tools are also updated on our website. So if you go on rebuildbydesign.org, there's going to be a quick access on the home page, and you're going to see New Jersey underwater. Here, you're also going to be able to see all the tools that we release. The past is the Atlas of Accountability in terms of bringing in disaster occurrences, but the two new tools that I just mentioned and demoed are here on the website as well.